Hey YouTube, welcome to my build update for my Autobomber. I've done a lot of updates to the build, such as changing it to Original Sin. I put in some Grand Spectrums, and a bunch of other small things. Yeah, so this is my Arbiter kill. I think it went pretty good. For the build itself, if the boss moves around a lot, it might not get hit by the balls, but luckily in this one right here, he stays pretty stationary, so it goes down very fast. But overall, I think the build is pretty good now. It was pretty smooth before too, but now I managed to make a few different quality of life changes just to make it smoother overall, and the damage has stayed the same. Yeah, this is some mapping gameplay. As you can see, it's mostly just get the tornadoes up and then run around with Ancestral Cry whenever it's up. And yeah, it's basically just a 3 button per minute build. You're only pressing the tornadoes and Ancestral Cry. Other than that, you're just rolling around, dodging stuff. I did update it so that there's a little bit more tankiness. If you look at my mana pool, you might see that it drops a little bit. That's because I'm taking Mind Over Matter. There's some good synergies with that and the Ascendancy node where you have the Remnants popping. Since the build doesn't use mana except for Ancestral Cry, and you only use that every 30 seconds or so, you really don't need the mana pool. So I'm using that as basically EHP. So that's something cool there that has been changed. It just gives another 800 EHP there, which is good for chaos hits and if my 4000 ES goes down. I've also changed the skill tree quite a bit, and we'll get into that after this. Otherwise, some other small changes I've made is working in a few different buffs. So getting better cooldown, better glory generation. I also have more spirit to run 1 extra aura. Yeah, it's pretty smooth. So yeah, let's get into the details of the build itself. Cool. Let's go over the gear. So some changes that I've made are I upgraded the Brutus lead sprinklers. They now have level 19 Molten Shower. You can get level 20, but it's a little bit more expensive. The rune sockets are still the same for this one. Chaos damage. And then I also have 6 linked it here. Other than that, that's the same. Crown of Eyes, it has 2 sockets now. It has Curse, and enemies take increased damage, and minus Chaos Res. The reason why I'm taking those is I'm running Original Sin now, so doing a lot of Chaos damage. Now even though I'm converting all my Elemental to Chaos, I can still Ignite because I have a source of added damage as Fire, as well as Zospire. And we can get into that a bit later. Otherwise, in this socket here, I have plus 15 Spirit. Astromantis, no changes. On this one, on the ring socket, I have just a bunch of Rarity and Strength, Leech, and Lightning Res. I'm running Grand Spectrums now, so I don't need as much resistances. So that's why I was able to run Original Sin and a lot less res on this. On the body, I am running different runes now. I changed the runes to Rarity and Curse Effect, just because I didn't really need the damage. But of course you can just go pure strength if you want as well. But I think the curse effect is really nice. On the gloves, These are basically the same. I just have 2 sockets now with Glory Generation and Withered effect. The tornadoes cause Wither on hit, so this is pretty big for chaos damage, since 90% of our damage is chaos now. On the belt, I'm just covering the rest of the resistances, as well as a bit of mana and mana flask recovery. We'll get into why I'm taking mana here in a little bit. For the boots is just as much as ES as possible and the rest of the resistances. For my charms, I'm using a anti-freeze one, a anti-stun, and anti-ignite. And this mana flask, which actually has a purpose now, which is cool. I'll get into that interaction right now. So I changed the pathing for the passive tree. Before we were going through here, but now we are going through the top now. The main reasons for that switch are to get Whispers of Doom, more Archon buff duration, Mind over Matter, and a good socket for this. So that saves me 2 points instead of grabbing it here. So that's cool. The loss for that was a little bit of ES, and that was it basically. But that's a major change. So yeah, I am running one more curse. Currently I'm running Despair as well as Repulsion. Have a lot more Archon buff duration, so now it lasts for, I believe, 23 seconds. Mind over Matter, just so that I can have a little bit more health pool. So now my mana actually has a purpose. Out of my skills, the only skills that use mana are Molten Blast and Ancestral Cry. Molten Blast I only use for at the very beginning of the map, just to get the tornadoes up. And Ancestral Cry only costs 63 mana, so this is basically useless. But now that I'm using Mind over Matter, it becomes a 800 EHP pool, which is very useful because it has really good synergies with Into the Breach. So Into the Breach gives you Remnants, 3 different types. The red ones give you Leech for Life, which I'm converting into ES Leech. The mana one gives you mana. The blue one gives you mana, which now serves a purpose for me. And purple gives damage. So that's a pretty cool synergy there. Otherwise, the tree is basically the same. One note is crystallized immunities. Before I was doing the ignite immunity, now I'm doing the chill immunity. Just because chill is just so dog shit in this game. Definitely feels really good to have chill immunity. But yeah, that's the major changes here. And then getting into the gems. So for Mace Strike, I'm just using this to get the crystallized immunities. So just a bunch of blue ones here. It can be anything. Archon of Chayula. This one I have changed to Magnified Area, Prolonged Duration, Chaos Attunement, Long Shot, and finally Exhaust Pyre. The main reason for that is to get Chaos damage can ignite, just so that I can get really good uptime on Ancestral Cry. Now if I was not using that, and I wasn't using Chaos Attunement, there would be about 1000 fire damage, which is still enough to ignite. But I started doing too much chaos damage that most stuff would just die before it got ignited. So it became very inconsistent for Ancestral Cry. So it's good to have that. Also, it's just a really good damage link. Next is Into the Breach. Just 2 Remnant sockets here. And finally, Katal's Rejuvenation. Catal's Rejuvenation gives CDR. So at max stacks, you have 40% increased cooldown recovery, which is pretty cool. I believe that Molten Shower gets down to 1.5 CDR when all the stacks are up. That's pretty cool. And it's pretty cheap to get as well. Molten Shower, as I said before, has 6 links now. So I'm using Magnified Effect, Chaos Attunement, Conk Effect, Multi-Shot, and CDR. Molten Blast is Magnified Area, Fork, Rapid Attacks, and Ricochet. This is pretty much whatever. I think I only use Molten Blast once or twice every map. Afterwards, it's just, you don't need it anymore. So you can put anything in here. It doesn't really matter. Blasphemy, I'm using Repulsion and Despair. Despair, you can also switch it out for Temporal Chains or Enfeeble. But I really didn't see a huge difference in defenses with the other ones, so I just opted for damage instead. Living Lightning and Magnified Area, no changes. And then Ancestral Cry is Magnified Area, Prolonged Duration, Chaos Attunement, and Bramble Slam. So yeah, that's my build update. The build itself feels really, really good. Very smooth to play. I pretty much have 90 to 100% uptime on the Tornadoes or Ancestral Cry. So there's always a way to proc the Molten Shower. So it feels nice to play. Only big changes I would make is somehow getting more defenses. A really big one might be Mage Blade, just so that you can get more evasion, run Wind Dancer, and Ghost Dance. That might be nice. But otherwise, yeah, the build can clear the entire endgame. Very minimal buttons to press. And yeah, it's a pretty fun build overall. Otherwise, this is it. Thanks for watching. Cheers.